aliens, and welcome to my channel, fellow aliens. My name is Amethyst the Alien, and today we have 3 groups to choose from. We're going to ask, what does our shadow side have to say? Does our shadow side have a message for us? Now, our shadow side is the side of ourselves that we often don't want to acknowledge. The bad things about ourselves that we just kind of wish wasn't there, or wish ideally would never be pointed out in social situations. But it's there in all of us. We all have a shadow side. We all have things we're not proud of. But the only way we are going to work with our shadow side is accepting those things about ourselves that we're not too happy about, and controlling and integrating them in ways where they will not harm us on the inside or others on the outside. So that's what we have today. We're going to ask, what does our shadow have to say? So firstly, if you're interested in group 1, we have a piece of raw amethyst. And group 2 has a Chinese lucky coin. Unfortunately, I only have 1 left. There's supposed to be 3 bound together, so maybe something will come up with that. And then we have group 3 with this simple but cute piece of amethyst as well. Welcome, group 1. So you chose the raw amethyst. Beautiful choice. Let's take a swig of coffee here before we start any of this. Oh god, that's good. Before we start any of this. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna put your crystal right over here. And then we have 1 Moonology card that we are going to use to see what the basic messages of your shadow side. I usually use tarot first, but today I thought I'd do something different and just get the essence of what your shadow wants to say with the Moonology card. So let's see. It says, meditate and contemplate. Immediately when I saw this card, I have this feeling of someone running away. Running away from something they don't want to deal with, running away from something they don't want to hear, running away from something they don't want to acknowledge is true. So you may have that, in terms of a fight or flight energy, you may be more of a flighty type, where if you can see something bad on your horizon, you kind of tie your shoelaces because you're ready to run away from it. But your shadow side is saying conflict is everywhere, and if you struggle to deal with conflict, you're going to need to find a way. You can't work around conflict your whole life, okay? So with this meditate and contemplate card, it's really telling me that you're gonna have to find a way to work through conflict that works for you, because avoiding conflict is impossible. It's just not likely. It's not healthy. There is a thing such as healthy conflict. I'm sure you've heard about it before. And avoiding conflict in all regards might seem like a good thing, but on the flip side, you have to realize that when that is the case, you won't be able to deal with conflict when it does come up, because you haven't dealt with conflict. And conflict can present itself in a multitude of ways, depending on the person that you're dealing with. So learning how to work with your fear of conflict in order to deal with conflict is pretty much what your shadow side is trying to tell you here. I hope this makes sense. So I'm gonna expand a bit with the tarot, simply because I will get into more oracle cards later, but I feel like as your general message was quite, I don't know, shall I say clear? I'm sorry if my camera keeps moving, but it's an overhead mount, and the mic is connected to it, so my setup's going to be different someday, but that day's not going to be today. So let's get, oh, a card flipped over, that's weird. Let's see what it is. It's a page of Pentacles. Okay, there's 2 cards flipped over, and I want 1 at a time, so that's not going to work for us. We want 1 card at a time, please. Okay, let's see. I'm thinking of the poem of Jack and Jill. If that's something someone, sorry, I need to fix this mic because it's gonna keep being in my way, and I can't actually tell me that. Sorry. Like, this is an hour-long video, and if in the first 5 minutes I'm not comfortable, I'm not gonna be comfortable for the next hour. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get back into this. Procrastination energy from our side there. Sorry, guys. Okay, we're gonna see what the cards do. I don't have a specific amount of cards I want to get. All I know is I want to get them one at a time. And oh, there we go. We have the Emperor in reverse. Let's get one more from the tarot. Sorry, I had a very loud ringing in my right ear. So we'll get one more card from the tarot. Okay, it's 2 cards. Okay, so with the Emperor, we've got, oh, this is extremely interesting, isn't this? Serious imbalance in masculine and feminine energy is what these cards are telling me. So with this meditate and contemplate is something that you can do in your feminine energy. Everyone has feminine and masculine energy. Feminine energy is more about the emotions, and masculine energy is more about the things we do in this world and the mind. So this is telling me that when it comes to life, especially these conflict situations, you're a very emotional person in terms of your reactions, in terms of how the situations affect you. And trying to take an approach where you fight back or where you stand your ground is not something that's going to be particularly easy for you. This is something that may be uncomfortable for you on a level where you don't like talking back to people, or you don't like being involved at all, it seems. But the thing is, you can run forever. So if you don't want to fight, then you're going to have to stand your ground. Because standing your ground doesn't mean you have to fight. Standing your ground just means you're there, you're present, and you're acknowledging what's going on. It doesn't mean you have to get involved. So the tarot is definitely telling me that there's a lot of emotional energy and almost a rationality with which you approach these things. But then when it comes to actually handling them, and it's like having, like if someone, for example, if you have a daydream about telling off someone who was very rude to you, and the situation actually presented itself with the Emperor, you would probably not engage. It just remains a daydream, you know? You're not that person. Sure, it feels good to imagine getting, you know, someone getting their comeuppance, but at the end of the day, some of us aren't made for conflict situations, which is where we can find a different type of wisdom, a wisdom where we don't have to fight, a wisdom where we can lay our weapons down and go into our mind to meditate and contemplate why is this conflict occurring? Firstly, does it have anything to do with me? If not, and if you're not trying to protect someone fiercely, then don't even engage. But if this conflict has something to do with you, sorry guys, I had a little bit of a moment there. This card with the Black Moon also, it just gives me a bit of a, it's almost like you're disillusioned about your ability to handle conflict. It's almost like, I don't know why this conflict energy is coming up the whole time, but it's almost like you yourself are disillusioned by your abilities to handle conflict. It's almost like when you have these thoughts about, like when you're in the shower and you're like, you had an argument with someone, you're like, oh, I should have said that. That's kind of like you, whereas you'll never, but you don't want to have conflict, but you also don't want to be the person that stands back the whole time and everyone walks over them, you know, you don't want it to get to that point. So there's gonna need to be some kind of middle ground here between your wanting to sort out the conflict and wanting to not be involved in the conflict. Okay, so we have the Hermit in reverse. So the Hermit in reverse tells me that this is not your time to light the way for others. This is your time to light the way for you. This is the time for you to learn something new that'll help you in the future. Whether it be work, whether it be social interactions, whether it be projects, collaborations. You're gonna have to deal with people, and whenever, sorry about that, whenever people are in the mix, conflict is in the mix. So there's just this heavy air of having to deal with conflict. Now, with the Hermit coming out in reverse, it says, don't stay too much in your thoughts. If you're gonna meditate and contemplate about this, don't hyper-fixate. That's not the point. The point is to search for a lesson. If no lesson presents itself, you let it go. It's not to hyper-fixate on conflict or situations or think about it for hours on end and looking for an answer. See, we have the 5 of Swords in reverse. This gives me a little indication of the fact that maybe even if you do decide to employ this meditate and contemplate energy, for example, you will find that you might find it much easier to deal with conflict because you've had a chance to think through it, a chance to see some, what shall we say, progress within the way you think about it. So even if on the outside there isn't progress and people are still fighting, the way you perceive it may be very different, and that different perception may give you a form of confidence to brush the conflict off like you wouldn't before, you know? Essentially, we're not trying to run away from the rain, we're trying to create an umbrella for ourselves, and if you understand what I'm saying. Oh, you've got 2 cards. Sorry guys, we'll have to shuffle again because we only need 1 chakra wisdom card for you guys. And we're gonna look for one more chakras. Okay, we've got 1. Nails. It says, willpower and determination. I set clear boundaries for my own behavior, and I cultivate a strong will by being true to myself. I use my willpower to accomplish my daily tasks and spiritual goals and encourage uplifting thoughts and behaviors in myself. See, this is not about showing the light to others, it is about showing the light to yourself. Doing this will assist me on the next stage of my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. I stay in touch with my positive thoughts and truth by avoiding substance abuse. My will is strong and my mind is clear. So maybe you do have trouble with substance abuse, or maybe that's how you get away from the conflict. And why am I putting your card away? Maybe that's how you get away from the conflict. Maybe you escape the conflict by having a smoke or having a drink or engaging in promiscuous behavior. It's really, these things are generally from person to person. These escapism methods will differ. Some of them are very harmful, some of them aren't harmful at all in a certain sense. But even when the least harmful type of escapisms are put under the microscope, they still end up doing more damage than good. So we've got the 10 of Swords in reverse. I definitely see some lighter future energy here for you. This is something that's going to continue causing you stress if you don't find a way to work with it. So conflict is something that some of us just cannot stand. Like, it's like goosebumps on a cold day. You've got the 7 of Swords in reverse. This is not the time to deceive yourself. Your shadow is telling you this is not the time to deceive yourself. Your shadow is saying, we've known for a long time that we're a runner. It's calling you a runner. Then we've got the Hangman, change of perspective, absolutely. You know that you're a runner. You know that when conflict presents itself, you're the first person out the door. But at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind, we've got the Magician, that sooner or later you're going to be directly involved in conflict because life presents itself in such a manner that we'll have to deal with conflict directly at some point. And you can't just run away if you're involved. It just denotes a lack of strength, which is something that nobody wants to be perceived as having. So with the Magician here and the Hangman, you're going to be able, You're going to be able to craft a new perspective for yourself by... Sorry, I completely lost my words. By experiencing these things and choosing to respond differently, choosing to process it differently, if that makes sense. We're gonna get some more oracle cards. So choosing to process this differently, you know, choosing to see the conflict from a different perspective, because conflict, yes, conflict is uncomfortable and unfortunate, and nobody thinks it's comfortable unless you're one of those people who enjoy drama, but I am not getting that from you. Definitely not. But this is about learning new ways to acknowledge conflict without drowning in it. Let's see. Got another numerology card for you guys. Let's see what it says. It says a fiery climax approaches. So Aries is a very hard-headed type of energy. It's the type of energy where it's my way or the highway, and that's how it is. And you may be having to deal with people like that, people who say it's their way or nothing. And conflict may arise in you if you don't agree, but this conflict will not be transmuted with the Magician unless, you know, you find yourself in scenarios sometimes where you can't say anything about it, where it's your boss or someone who's reprimanding you, and then you just have to, you know, swallow your words. But this fiery climax approach is saying you can be strong in your response even if you don't fight back. Words can carry fire as well. Respect for yourself can carry fire as well. Just acknowledging a scenario and not being afraid, not running away, or even just being afraid and standing your ground still denotes this sense of strength that you might not have had before. I don't know why I'm putting these cards away. I wanted to get one more. I really hope some of what I'm saying makes sense, because at the end of the day, this is very... this message keeps hammering on the way that you process conflict. Sorry, all the cards came out. We're gonna look for one more. It's not just about how you process it and how you change it. It's about how you perceive it, how you process it, how you integrate it, how you let it go, and how you behave differently next time. This is an entire ass process that your shadow self is like making you aware of. Not being able to handle conflict is not a singular thing, it's a process. And if there's a process to something, it means there's gaps where it can be worked on. There we go. We've got, you're already doing it. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. Yes. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. Stop overthinking about the things that were said. Stop overthinking about what could go wrong, who's going to fight next, when's the next shoe going to drop. You know, some of us have developed trauma responses where we wait for conflict to happen because we're so used to it being around us. And that is maybe also something that Spirit is calling you to acknowledge. Maybe you do have this trauma response. And then we've got Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? And I think how are you being called to step up and lead isn't specifically speaking about how you can inspire others, but rather how you can inspire yourself. There's a very big self-healing, self-empowering energy around your reading, but it's a gentle self-empowering where it's almost like teaching a kid how to walk. You know, he can't crawl his whole life, but walking is going to take some time. So we have a mischievous energy again. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse. We have the Fox. We have the Castle. So there may be someone in your life who looks for conflict. Maybe someone in the home is mischievous or is snappy or is a conflict-based person, trauma-based person, and you're the exact opposite. And maybe they have more credence in the hierarchy in the house, so you can't really say anything. But just because you can't say anything doesn't mean that you have to hold on to the scenario forever. You know, sometimes you have to recognize whether these things touch us at all, and if so, how, and if they do touch us, how we can fix these scenarios, because nobody wants to live in constant fear, even if it's or constant anxiety for some fight that's going to happen or someone that's going to get mad. It's not the most pleasant type of people to be around, you know, people looking for drama, people looking for conflict. Some people are like that. Some people enjoy, dare I say, that type of thing. I can't imagine that, but it is the truth, man. So we're gonna see here. This one wants to show his face. We have prayer feathers. So I'm being called to say maybe you need an item of some sort that can be almost a trinket for your happy place. It's making me think of you know, in Inception, when he has the little top, or they have the little items to remind them when it's reality and when it isn't. Maybe you should have a little item or something when you get anxious to just, you know, ground yourself a bit and hold the item, embracing the future. I step into the future with an open heart. Yes, trusting yourself, trusting that you will be able to be different, to experience these things differently, you know? So breath feather gives me the idea that you might benefit from having a trinket of sorts. And if you can see in this embracing the future card, there's a door frame, but no divide between where she's coming and where she's going. It's almost like an illusion. It's about how you think. It's about how you process a scenario, how you choose to go forward. Choices are a very big deal in this regard and in the context of your reading, because how you choose to handle scenarios that make you uncomfortable will either prepare you for the future or it'll make you more uncomfortable. So you have to find some kind of sweet spot with handling conflict here. This is something that's coming through very strongly. There's some desire for Spirit to tell you that there's a sweet spot that needs to be reached with your conflict resolution capabilities and your lack of acknowledgement for maybe even the depth of your fear of conflict, and maybe even questioning where that fear of conflict might have come from the very beginning, you know. Let me get some last message cards for your reading. So your shadow self is very, very adamant on integrating a sense of strength into that recognition of that heavy fight or flight response that you seem to have around conflict scenarios. Oh, okay. So you have the soul usually knows how to heal itself. The challenge is the mind, which suits your reading quite well, because if you get in the crossfire of conflict, you'll always eventually feel better because your soul heals itself. The wounds heal themselves. The challenge is the mind. Here the challenge is teaching yourself how to deal with these things, you know. Then we have I may be quiet, but I have so much on my mind. So maybe there's also just this energy of not speaking your truth, or not speaking out when something does bother you. To find the beloved, you must become the beloved. So I'm hearing, to find peace, you must become peace. This gives me the idea that if you find peace within yourself, then conflict will not be as much of an issue for you anymore. So it's less about, surely there's still some guidance about learning to handle it, but it's less about how you handle it and more about how comfortable you are with yourself on an inner level. So comfort here seems to go hand in hand with being confident enough to then stand in your power, or just stand up for yourself. So there's a little bit of There's a little bit of a, what do you call it, emphasis on maybe a little confidence is needed for you to start challenging yourself with these new perspectives. And yeah, that's all I'm getting for you guys. Yeah. So, hope you enjoyed your reading, and I am grateful for your shadow self speaking to us, telling us what you're struggling with and how you have the opportunity to change your life and your future. So I want to thank you for taking an interest in yourself and coming to this reading, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. If you feel the need, you may like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. If you chose group 2 with the lucky coin, this is going to be your reading. So we're going to pop your coin right there. So let's see, what message does your shadow self have? It's time to release negativity. Why are you holding on to this? I'm literally seeing someone white knuckling it, holding on so tight to something that's nothing but negativity. Full moon in Scorpio also talks very much about dark sides. You may want to see if you have any placements in the 8th house, 12th house, or if you want to see where Scorpio is in your chart. That might give you a little bit of an idea of the darker energies around your birth chart. So, it's time to release negativity. It's not exactly a very mysterious statement. So let's see what the tarot can tell us. So we have the 9 of Wands. Sorry, the 10 of Wands in reverse. We have 2 more cards. 8 of Pentacles. Then we have the 8 of Swords. You have 1 of each suit thus far. Okay, I have a Cups now. I can't even. Okay, never mind. So you've got the 4 of Swords. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see your cards. Okay, you can now. Okay. So, for group 1, they couldn't see. Okay. So, sorry. I see here someone who is tormented with responsibility, tormented with their mind and their thoughts, overthinking, wanting to go in a new direction, and then there's a little bit of peace in the home life. But for all practical application, there is a lot of stress here, a lot of fear of maybe failure. There's a bit of a cynic energy with this. It's time to release negativity. There's a bit of a, if it doesn't work out, I suck and I'll just do something else type of energy. It's a type of really, it's almost a self-loathing type of energy. It's a type of energy where someone is ready to give up before they began because they have that little faith in positivity, that little faith that something will go well. And these people are usually the type of people who have suffered a lot in their lives and just start assuming that life is crap, which has happened to the best of us. But if you get stuck in that type of energy, it could really, really pull you down to become your normal way of thinking, your normal way of, you know, immediately going to the negative instead of the positive. Becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a thought pattern. It becomes you. It consumes you if you're constantly, you know, only focused on the negative. Even in a sense of self-preservation, even if it seems like a sense of self-preservation, you're preserving yourself, but you're not liberating yourself. Positivity liberates us. Negativity may preserve us, but at which point does negativity start destroying you? That's the real question that needs to be asked. Yeah. I'm gonna get some more oracle cards to see if we can get a bit more guidance on this, because I feel it's a slippery slope. Negativity is a very slippery slope. One moment you're normal, the next moment 5 things happen in a row that make you negative, and then next thing you know you're a cynic, you know. And it's a slippery slope. It's a snowball effect. It catches you off guard, and then all of a sudden everyone's asking you, why are you so negative, you know. And then you would probably want to respond with something like, I'm not being negative, I'm being realistic. And that's like even a level below that type of cynicism we discussed at the beginning. Like, it just grows. Negativity grows, as does positivity, but negativity like festers and grows. So we have the Great Gathering. It's all come together. Intuitive Hits, Soul Tribe. So with Intuitive Hits and Soul Tribe, I have a feeling that there's a loneliness here, okay? There's a loneliness here. There's a desire here with the Six of Swords for something different, for something new thoughts, new ideas, new environment, something different than what you've known. But there's a what's the point feeling. Like, we have Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, helpers in the subtle realm. See, a lot of this cynicism feels to have come from some sort of isolation. It's on two sides of the spectrum, either isolation or either you are overwhelmed by people and it like bent you a bit and made you negative. It's more isolation because I can see here it's a subtle realm, helpers in the soul realm, and then you have the Great Gathering as well, which indicates to me a lot of people. And your cards, well, except for this one, but your other 3 cards have one character on them each, one archetype on them each, which means that there's the element of loneliness is probably a more accurate direction. And people who are lonely often fall into the the vat of despair, helplessness. The darkness quickly consumes you, and you may be there, you may be at that place right now. Look at the bigger picture, but you're not going to be at that place forever. You're not going to be at that place forever, but negativity is going to keep you there longer. That's really the point. This is not about toxic positivity at all. This is not really the point. Toxic positivity is not the point. The point is not beating yourself up. It's nobody here is asking you to give yourself a crown, but I'm just asking you not to punch yourself in the face. You know what I'm saying? There's a hostile energy almost towards yourself, and this negativity is almost like venom you're spitting back in your own face. And keep in mind, when we're in a negative state of mind, it's much easier for us to say things that we regret and cannot. Okay, this deck has no more messages for us. It's much easier to say things that cut deep, that we can't take back. So negativity, in many ways, is a catalyst for true despair in terms of, it's because my elbows are on the table that the camera is shaking. I can't believe I just realized that. That's ridiculous. Anyway, sorry guys. So, in many ways, sorry, 2 cards, I need one at a time. In many ways, it can be a catalyst for a lot of problems. We have a compass. This is also, I'm getting the question of, is this how I was when I was a child? Is this how I was raised? Were you raised to be negative? Well, is a kid ever raised to be negative? We're made negative by the things around us and our experiences, which is why it's very important. Got the School of Fish. It's very important. It's drowning in emotion. So maybe the negativity is a front for more vulnerable emotions like sadness, shame, what other emotions? Anger, despair, lack of trust in yourself. Maybe this negativity is just a mask you're wearing to cover up your true feelings. It's almost like you're wearing this mask to make yourself look stronger so people won't think you're weak, because if you're negative, people usually think you're an ass. You know, if you're negative about everything, people usually think you're an ass. But that's maybe a way you're trying to get people to not ask you about the deeper questions, because you're, turning them away at the gate by being kind of an standoffish and cold. So maybe that's a defense mechanism that your shadow is trying to point out here. Okay, and with the key, the rose, 33 is 3 could be your life path number. It might be interesting for you to go research your life path number if you're interested in these type of things. And then we're gonna get a chakra wisdom card. I feel like there's a need for me to tell you that nobody is going to do this work for you. Nobody's going to release the negativity for you, because okay, we have third chakra, solar plexus, the warrior. Nobody can do this for you. Nobody can make you more positive. The world can't drop $1 million into your lap and then you'll be happy. This even comes down to a fundamental question of happiness. What will make you happy? But instead of people always asking what do you want, what will make you happy, ask yourself, why am I so miserable? What would make me less miserable? Less negative? Less doubtful about the good things in the world, okay? We've got, I embrace my inner strength, power and resilience, and I allow myself to shine. I unfold my full potential as an empowered person with a true sense of who I am. I grow in consciousness as I overcome and transcend life's challenges. I need the warrior inside me for the journey ahead, and I am courageous in moving forward. So I don't see I don't sense a lack of strength around you. I sense a lack of patience, because positivity takes work. Positivity takes character. Positivity takes a certain integrity to hold on to, because none of these things can be proven, none of these things are tangible. But the effect that positivity versus negativity has on our lives is fundamentally important and extremely far-reaching. And when you start being more positive in your life and you see that ricochet and the ripple and how positivity influences your life in a good way, then I think this message that I'm giving you now will be much clearer. So let us see what else we've got for you. We're going to get you to, sorry, this card's very nicely packed, but you know what? The message is important, not the look of it. We've got these big old boys, so we're going to get you 2 of these. Oh, you've got prayer feather. Group 1 also had prayer feather. That's, maybe you were drawn to both groups, but we will take a look at the card now. Just give me a second to get another one for you guys. Just show you the cards. Okay. Let's get one more. This one is a jumper. We have Spirit Keeper of the West. Okay. Let's get the book, because you've got 2 cards from this deck. So we have Spirit Keeper of the West, page 88. Let's see. Spirit Keeper of the West. Transformation, letting go of the old, initiation, illumination, harvest. Gather your inner resources. If it doesn't feel right, don't go ahead. Trust your heart. Chaos brings positive change. Almost all comes out of turmoil. Don't be concerned if there's confusion in your life. It'll all work out. In the medicine wheel, the direction that symbolizes the fiery setting sun, autumn, the waning moon, and the time of harvest and the tumultuous years of teenagers in the human cycle. So this negativity is like very teen angst vibes, so that's interesting. In order for the new to ignite in your life, it's necessary to let go of the old, sweep away the debris. This card reminds us to slow down our rapid growth and harvest what we have attained. In the autumn, leaves are burned to make way for new growth. Release the dross in your life to make way for new growth. Release what doesn't serve you. Release negativity. So we've got our prayer feather card, so we're going to see what he's got to tell us on page 72. Love is flowing to you and through you. No matter what an individual is saying or doing, love him or her anyway. Gather your inner forces, silently and secretly, love deeply and fully with every ounce of your being, even if someone isn't fulfilling your expectations. It isn't easy to love people when they're acting... It's easy to love people when they're acting wonderfully. The true challenge is to love them when they aren't. Feathers in native cultures often represent a connection with the Creator. Birds often symbolize messages between two-legged humans and spirit. This is your time to love and be loved. The love that you send out into the world comes back to you hundredfold. We were talking about that karma thing now, negativity and the ripple effect in your life. The love that you send out in the world comes back to you 100-fold. There are times when the small concerns of everyday life need to drop away and be replaced by the majesty of your being. This is that time. Prayer feathers are decorated feathers that can be used for many purposes. In some traditions, prayers are placed into the feather. You can hold it to your heart or between your hands as you focus on your prayer, and then tie it onto a bush, so when the wind blows, it carries the prayer to the Creator. Another kind of prayer feather is decorated and used for smudging ceremonies. Okay. Anyway, point being, the feathers also relate to the freedom of birds, the freedom you may feel when released from this negativity, because negativity is a heavy feeling. You may feel lighter once this negativity is out of your life. So we're going to get some message cards here. I hope you guys got some sort of message here. Your shadow is really, really straining under that cynicism. Your shadow says it's okay to be negative sometimes, but when sometimes turns into always, it starts, blackening the heart a bit, if I can say it like that. Okay, so we have, you will know when it's love, real love, because you will suddenly start believing in destiny. See, the person who says everything sucks, nothing's great again, wait, one day something's going to surprise you and you're going to find that great thing, and something inside you will align in a way where the negativity will just not be possible anymore. The soul usually knows how to heal itself. The challenge is the mind. We've got this message in group 2 as well, if that is, group 1 as well, if that is something you're interested in. So you've got 2 messages from group 1. Anyway, so the soul usually knows how to heal itself. The challenge is the mind. The mind is the biggest challenge because the mind, the body is a functional thing. The body is a type of thing where you put in a physical thing and it has a physical reaction. The mind is much, much different. So the challenge will be the mind in releasing this negativity. Perhaps the problem is not the intensity of your love, but the quality of the people you are loving. So to be honest, this just reminds me of a statement. If you're miserable, make sure you aren't surrounded by assholes before you judge yourself. So maybe it's the environment you're in. Maybe you're negative because people around you are just being asses. It often happens, and people have this way of pretending like it didn't even happen. There are a lot of things that can cause this negativity to spiral even more than it already has, or even, lodge itself into you more than it already has. But your shadow is saying, let this go, it's not good for you. You're poisoning yourself with this negativity. That is what your shadow is telling us. Shadow is telling us you need to stop poisoning yourself with this negativity because it serves no one. Negativity can act as a form of self-preservation, but at the end of the day, What are you preserving? Your fears? Your shame? What are you preserving by being negative? It's like going through life with a closed off heart like this. If I'm negative, nobody will talk to me, I'll be fine, I won't get hurt. Cool, then you'll also never experience any great things as well. So there's a choice to be made here. Be negative and push people away, or be positive and invite them in. Your boundaries remain your own. Bye bye. Hi group 3 and nervousness here, there's a nervousness about you, there's a nervousness about the scenario. You may currently be finding yourself in a scenario where you feel someone might make an offer, or someone might ask you to become more committed to them or a cause or something, and you are not sure what you're gonna say because you're not sure if you're ready for the commitment. But the question that needs to be asked is why? Why aren't you ready? We're not saying it's not okay to not be ready. It's okay to not be ready. But we need to know why we aren't ready. We need to know. You can't be serious. Oh my gosh, guys, the camera moved and I didn't even notice. I literally can't. Anyway, hopefully it wasn't for too long of a time. Point being. Maybe you find it easier to be committed to people who you're committed to by blood, like your family. You know those commitments are for life, so you accept them blindly. But accepting anything into your life that wasn't given to you at birth, any person that wasn't assigned to you at birth, is something that's very difficult for you to do. But how committed are you to yourself? How committed are you to yourself? How committed are you to your goals? Because one can only do unto others what you're willing to do unto yourself. If you're not committed to yourself, if you're not committed to your goals, if you're not committed to your happiness, then you have commitment issues with yourself. Think about that. That's possible. It's possible to have commitment issues with yourself. And that question is being raised for you. There's a desire for love here, there's a desire for acceptance here, but there's a serious fear of commitment and trust in the universe, yourself, that things might go well. Serious fear of being betrayed, maybe. Because along with trust comes the fear of betrayal. If you trust someone and they break your trust, you've been betrayed, and nobody wants to experience that. So, okay, we've got intuitive perception. Let's see what it says for you. I know that what my intuitive senses tell me are true. I open myself to the truth that is within and around me, and I know that it's there for me to receive. I practice developing my intuition, and I know that it's a major aspect of who I am. In the stillness and silence of meditation and contemplation, I will experience and know the truth. So this is also telling me that even though you have commitment issues, you're not without tools, shall I say. In a way that even if you are afraid to commit to something, you are still able to analyze it without committing. You have eyes, you have ears. You have senses that can give you information. That information is either information that's going to make you trust someone or not trust someone. But you can't sit on the fence forever. People don't want to wait forever to be trusted. People don't want to wait forever to be committed to. Because the world doesn't wait for us, and neither do other people. And it's selfish of us to expect people to wait for us because we aren't ready. You're either going to care enough about the situation for our readiness to present itself, or the situation is going to move along without you and another lesson will replace it. The same lesson with a different cloak on. It's best to learn lessons when you're aware of them because they like to circle back. That's their purpose. So let's see here. We're gonna get some Lenormand cards to see a little bit of a visual, just a little bit of a visual inclination of something you might need to acknowledge. Maybe it's some kind of symbol for you. Some kind of sign. Let's see here. Okay, we've got one card. Okay, this came out in group 2 as well, if you're interested in that. Same cards have been coming out for the collective, so that's interesting. So we're sharing similar fears, I suppose. These cards are... Why are you reading tarot when the cards? Wow. Okay. So I've got the mountain. You know what? I'm seeing that the depth of your fear of connection may be... The depth of your fear of connection may be of such a state that it feels like effort for you to commit to something. Not the physical effort of doing it, but committing to something and saying, I'll be there. And actually holding through with it. Actually like showing up when you said you would. May be very difficult for you to do. Because you may have moments where you feel like doing something and the next day you don't feel like doing it. But you can't. Nobody likes someone who isn't a person of their word, let me just be honest. Nobody likes future faking. Nobody likes people who make promises and constantly pull out of the promises. Nobody likes no-shows. If you want to be respected, you're going to have to start committing to the things you want to respect you. You can't want your boss to respect you and show up late every day to work because you're afraid to commit to it 9 to 5 or something like that. Your actions spark the respect that you receive. So if you aren't respecting yourself enough to stay true to your word or to have discipline in your commitments, then why should others respect you if you can't even respect yourself enough to try? You know? It's kind of a feeling. It's like the fear is bigger. The fear is bigger than the reward. Most of these fears are integrated in us in a way where we feel we're helpless or we have no control. I don't have control over the fact that I have commitment issues. Actually, yes, you do. It's just going to take a little longer for you to either commit, or you are going to decide that it's not for you and you will stick to being 100% authentically uncommitted to things. But you're going to have to handle the consequences that go with each of those, you know? Sorry guys, these cards are probably as tired as I am. Okay, so we have the Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. So I feel the need to tell you that even if something doesn't come easily to you and it comes easily to others, that doesn't mean you're any lesser than them. Just because people have the ability to be in a new relationship every week and commit their everything to a new person every week, and you're not able to commit to the person you've been with for 5 years, humans are vastly, vastly different in the way that we interact with the world and the people around us. So I just need to tell you that you shouldn't compare this issue that you have to others, because commitment is not black and white. Okay. So 2 more cards, it's perfect. The time for healing, yes. The end of a tough cycle approaches. So maybe there's been a struggle to say yes to something with all your heart. And usually it's not the fact that we don't want to make a choice, it's the fact that we don't want to accept the consequences. If we're committed to something, an expectation is created of us. To be there, to care, to be a part of that commitment, to want to be a part of that commitment. If you don't want to, don't commit. If you do want to, you're going to have to start opening yourself up to arriving, showing up as you, showing up not without fear, but with fear anyway. So, we're going to get 2 oracle cards for you now. I'm going to see what the nature spirits have to tell us. What do they? There's too many, we only need 2, please. Go. We've got 2 cards. We're happy with that. Let us see what you got. You've got great mystery and rising above. I see only beauty and grace. So rising above is a very beautiful message for you. Let's see what great mystery says. I'm quite interested to see. It is page 58. Have faith and know that you're divinely guided. Let's show you your card. It's quite a beautiful card. Even when you have doubts, trust is the key word. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be. Believe. You've planted your seeds, now allow the Creator to do the rest. Even if you can't see into the future, have faith that the path will be illuminated and go forward. If you have any recurring challenges, turn them over to the Creator. Not my will, but thy will be done. Many native cultures refer to the Creator as the Great Mystery. It's the idea that Great Spirit is so vast and profound that in many ways it's unknowable. Faith is the foundation of the ability to manifest. Everything was created because someone believed that it was possible. Believe that it's possible to commit to yourself, to your life, to the essence of living. Faith is the foundation of the ability to manifest. Everything was created because someone believed it was possible, and patience is absolutely crucial in the application of this principle. Trust. Change can happen in a heartbeat, but some things require time. You've planted the seeds, now give them time to grow. Please be patient and know that will happen. Whatever receives your care and attention will flourish. Okay, so we're going to read the other one for Rising Above as well, because I feel like it might have some insights for you. Rising Above is page 69. Let go of the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. You have potential that you haven't even begun to tap into. This is the time to reach higher than ever before, so do not fall down before doubt. Remember your true calling. Just as the lotus rises up out of the mud into the light, so you're rising up to even greater heights. Sometimes this occurs naturally and sometimes it's an act of will. This is the time to rise above any situation that's not empowering, even if there are some people you might leave behind. Let your light shine for all to see. Rise up and step into your potential. You are indeed a healer, teacher, and leader. So your lack of or fear of wanting to commit may keep you stuck in life. It may keep you bound to a life where you're not getting the most that you can. I think we've discussed this before. You're not getting them as much out of life as you can because you're too fearful of, it's almost like you're someone who wants to go for a car ride, but your one foot is in the door and the one foot is out the door. The car can't ride if the door's not securely shut. You're gonna have to make a decision. Are you in or are you out? Let's see some general messages for you from our messages deck. I'll take that one because he was on his own. Just gonna take these two. Get one, maybe one more if one more wants to come out for us. Okay, we have one more. Okay, let's see what we have. We need never be ashamed of our tears. Maybe that's a little message you needed. And I went home and dreamed of you that night. See, your fear of commitment may even lead some possible realities to feel like a dream instead of a possible reality, because you're so afraid of making it real. You're so afraid of the pain that can come with love. And that much is true, for sure. But how much of the experience of human life are you taking away from yourself here? Every next level of your life will demand a different you. Some transformational energy for that message. Then we have, perhaps the problem is not the intensity of your love, but the quality of the people you're loving. This was in group 2 as well, if you're interested. This raises the question that maybe your fear of commitment is based on what's around you, not what's inside you. Maybe it's based on the fact there are no solid commitments around you, and that's why it's difficult for you to commit to something, because nothing seems solid enough. But committing, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. It's really the point, yeah? It even speaks to a greater truth of who you are, what your trust is in yourself. Where's your, as we said, where's your commitment to yourself? Have you structured the pillar of yourself? Have you core beliefs? Have you committed to a faith? Have you committed to a diet? Have you committed to an exercise routine? Have you committed to anything except what the human body needs? Something to think about. Those are your messages. Thank you very much for joining me. I wish you the best of luck in your journey, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.